This video will contain spoilers for KOTOR 1 and 2. Mooka Shakapaka Meatbags, I'm Rosamund, and welcome to a video that is very late to the party. On September 9th, 2021, we got a trailer that announced the remake of KOTOR 1 by Aspyr. Now, us OG fans have been tortured and teased with rumors and hearsay of a remake happening. It's a yearly phenomenon, and so to finally have a trailer to back up that is officially happening is very exciting. But in this video, I wanted to cover my hopes and fears for this remake. Now, I'm someone who likes to lurk subreddits, and I've seen a lot of different hopes and concerns from people about the remake. Some big ones that everyone talks about, and some hopes and concerns that I've had that I have not seen discussed. We're going to cover all of them in this. So let's get started. The number one thing that I see people concerned about with the KOTOR remake is combat, especially OG fans. Now, I understand where the OG fans are coming from with wanting the combat to not be changed, but you guys need to take a chill pill and understand that video games aren't made like that anymore. I know a lot of you really want the combat not to change, but it's inevitable, it's going to change. So just chill, please. Because they're going to change it, whether it ends up being like the Final Fantasy remake, or we get an action like style of combat. The purpose of this remake is to make it accessible to new players, and also make a version of the game that will run on new PCs, because the old game is very buggy and it's an old engine. It came out in 2003. It's not a surprise that it doesn't like running on new PCs. Honestly, I would be genuinely shocked if combat isn't changed, because this game is not only getting remade because us OG fans have wanted a remake for so long, it's also because it was such a big game when it first came out in 2003, and it was such a game changer that most AAA video games have been flopping and just have not been well received. And so I think they're trying to play it safe by giving us a good Star Wars game. I do have my concerns. I 100% have my concerns. In the original game, there is no character creation. There is no designing your face in this game. But I would like to see it done. I hope that they add it in. I think it would be great to be able to customize your player character. It's not so much whether they will do it. I think I'm just going to assume we're going to get a character creation. What I am concerned about is with the character creation we will most likely be getting, I just hope it's good. To this day, have never played a game that has a good blonde hair choice. The shades of blonde in games are never right. It always looks fake. And I know blonde is kind of like the hardest hair color to achieve, probably. But still, come on. Let's get a good one. I think what I am most worried about for this video game being remade in today's market is the inevitable voiced protagonist. I really don't want a voice associated with this player character Now, I did put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this video, but if you did not heed that, spoiler warning, you've been warned. I do not want Revan to have a voice. That was part of the beauty of the original game. Now, that's just how it was done back then. Protagonist wasn't voiced. Nowadays, we have voiced protagonists, and I hate it. I hate the voice protagonist in Dragon Age 2, in Inquisition. I hate it when it's used with a character that's supposed to be yours, that you're supposed to be able to roleplay as. When it comes to a character that's preset, like in The Witcher, where you have Geralt, Geralt is set. There is no formulating it, no creating his personality. There's no getting to roleplay. You're Geralt, and so it makes sense to have him voiced because he's a set character. His backstory already exists. You just get to play as him. I hate it with things like Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition because you're supposed to be able to start with a clean slate. That's why I love the Warden so much, because it's a clean slate. You get to just project whatever you want, and you can read the dialogue options however you want. Now, yes, there's always been the problem of sometimes the way you read the dialogue prompt is not how the writers intended it, so when you click it and the NPC responds to what you said, it's not the response you were expecting because you interpreted it, the line, differently from how it was meant to be interpreted. That has always been a struggle, and it's only gotten worse with dialogue wheel. That's the other thing I'm afraid of, is them changing it to the dialogue wheel. I don't know if I can make it through this game if they add a dialogue wheel, because I can't stand the dialogue wheel. Just write out the full dialogue of what I'm about to actually say. Don't give me a sort of half sentence of something that's unrelated to what I'm actually about to say as the character. Just write it all out for me so I can read the whole thing and decide for myself. Instead of just giving me good, funny, and being a jerk. Stop giving me those three options. Give me the multiple options that have so much nuance to them, please. Please, I'm begging you at this point. I'm so done with the three-choice dialogue wheel. The reason I particularly don't want a voiced protagonist for Revan is because I feel like it's going to predetermine some of Revan's personality. And part of the reason that I think the Revan plot twist was so impactful was because you got to project whatever you wanted onto that clean slate of a character. There wasn't a voice actor who had to make decisions, because a voice actor would have to make decisions on how they're going to present the dialogue, what their intentions are behind what they say. And everyone's not going to make those same interpretations as the player, but the voice actors have to make those decisions during the recording sessions. And so it gives this predetermined personality, and I don't want Revan to have a predetermined personality. That's what made the plot twist blow my mind when I was 12. Because I didn't see it coming at all. Even though the foreshadowing is in your face, I wasn't expecting it at all, because there was not much of an inkling from your character that you were previously Revan, because there was nothing. You had amnesia, you didn't remember anything. There was no way for it to get indicated in the dialogue from your end. But now with having a voice actor, I just feel like that could easily seep in. I could be totally wrong, and the voice acting could, and I'm not saying that the voice acting will be bad, I just don't like how it might change the story and how it would change Revan. I have nothing against the voice actors themselves. I usually love the voice actors. I just don't like to voice protagonists. I think it's appropriate for something like when you're playing as a character. not when it's an RPG where you're supposed to create your own character and it's supposed to be yours, and it just doesn't feel personalized and mine when there's two voice acting, when there's two voices to choose from, and I don't like either of them. And that's the thing I'm most scared about, because I'm worried of how it'll affect the story and how it'll affect Revan potentially getting a predetermined personality. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just rambling. I really hope that some of this makes sense. I get that a lot of people, especially modern gamers, really like a voiced protagonist. They don't really want to read dialogue prompts and stuff. And I get that. But I'm also worried about is because if they hire a voice actor to do Revan, that's going to take budget away from, and the accessibility, because that's going to take some of the budget, is adding a voice protagonist. This is all assuming a voice protagonist happens. I really pray that it doesn't happen. This is like my biggest fear about this game. But that would take away from the budget. Having a voice protagonist, it will take away from the budget because you have to pay them. And so they're only going to have so much of a budget to pay the voice protagonist. And so I'm worried that we're going to get cut down to the 3 choices dialogued prompt. Whereas before, we had like 5 or 6 choices per interaction. Every time that dialogue tree came up, every time you got the list, it was multiple choice. It wasn't 3 choices, and that has me concerned because I want them to expand on the dialogue options, not cut it back. But if they're paying a voice actor, they're not going to want to have 30 routes for one conversation or one big, like, decision in the game. And I really want them to expand upon what we already have. The other thing I've seen a lot of people say that they want changed is the dark side dialogue options. And I'm going to have to disagree with this because so many people say they just want them completely redone and gotten rid of. No. Revise some of them. Some of them are a little cheesy and need to be revised, but that also needs to happen with many of the Jedi answers. Many of the light side answers also have the same problem of being cheesy, holier than thou, and it bugs me too. So I would like to see revision for both the light side answers and the dark side answers. But don't completely remove the cartoonishly evil or the holier than thou Jedi answers, because they are priceless in certain instances, and I'd love to still be able to go into the game and just play a psychopath Revan for no reason, just because it's fun. Now, do I want more nuanced evil answers? And do I want more neutral good answers? Yes. Please, just expand and revise a couple of the cheesy answers in the game that make Revan seem really stupid at times as a character. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, make KOTOR 1 more like KOTOR 2. KOTOR 2 has some fantastic, nuanced, evil options, and more neutral, laid-back, light side options. But they kept some of the cartoonishly evil stuff, and some of the goody two-shoes, holier than thou stuff that gets really annoying as well. Basically, this whole video is just make KOTOR 1 more like KOTOR 2. That's literally this video. Anyway, that kind of leads me into the morality system. Now, I've seen a lot of people who don't like morality systems in video games and how busted and how the mechanics of it can really mess with how and just take away from the game. This is Star Wars. And Star Wars has the concept of good versus evil embedded in it. that is kind of the baseline of all of Star Wars is good versus evil. In this game, I think it would be weird to just remove the morality system. And part of me kind of doesn't want them to mess with it at all, because I really love just refusing to give some random homeless NPC, just refuse to give him a sandwich and then just get the dark side points because I just refuse to help out a homeless guy. Like, I still want those kind of instances because they're just funny. Do they make sense? No. But they're just funny, and it just adds to the charm of the game for me. Also, please add the sound effects when you earn dark side or light side points like we had in KOTOR 2. Please add those in, because it was so good. I loved just going, nah, I'm not gonna help you. I just loved how it just came out of nowhere and it just really hit you like a brick wall. It always cracked me up. And that's part of what made these games so charming and so much fun to me, was just these weird things that would happen that made no sense because it was game logic. Now, with the morality system, I would like to see there be a more rewarding way of not... Because KOTOR 1 very much forces you into either being light side or dark side. You can't really be middle of the road. You can't really hop between the two options because there's not much nuance. That got fixed in KOTOR 2 for the most part. But it did have its flaws of having an entire area locked away, locked off, until you reached a certain threshold with the light side, dark side points. You also had a companion locked behind whether you were light side or dark side. It determined if you got Hanhar or if you got Mira. I would love to see more variety in how they tried to flesh out KOTOR 2 in KOTOR 1. And because KOTOR 2 was really going on taking what was great from KOTOR 1 and just expanding on it and giving you everything, more of everything that you already loved from the first game. And because they only had 14 months, it shows, and there are a lot of flaws, and there's a lot of incomplete parts, but I think that kind of is beautiful in the theming of just everything being broken, the game also being broken. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
God, I can't believe I said that. One thing that I think will piss off a lot of his OG players is certain pieces of dialogue getting removed from the game, or being re-recorded for the new game and getting changed. Here are a few that I will riot in the streets if they remove any of these, or change the inflection, or how the line delivery is done.
Sorry, but that ain't gonna happen. Is somebody out there? Fishy, 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 come and eat me too. You can't get me, little fishy. Nothing here. I'm safe behind my walls. No, you can't harm me in here. I'm invincible. Ah!
I am a law-abiding droid. Yes, indeed. Law-abiding. That's me. Explanation. It's just that you have all these squishy parts, Master, and all that water. How the constant sloshing doesn't drive you mad, I have no idea.
I swear I will riot. We don't know what the budget of this game is. We don't know what they're going to utilize the budget on, and how they're going to disperse it between all the things that have to be done to do a remake. I'm going to make the assumption, I could be 100% wrong about this, I'm going to make the guesstimate that we're going to get new alien dialogue. Now, if you've played the first game, and if you're watching this video, most of you have played the original. There are only a couple of lines of dialogue for each alien race. And it gets annoying. You would either go into a conversation with the alien and get this dialogue,
Mucho shakapaka, ye ki kon no ba muladra ki chichon.
or this.
Ka chikun ida hodonda, yekin kuno pa mulera chikun. Svimo podona rudiodunga ku kabe.
Now, I think it would be a great Easter egg if they made like one alien keep this dialogue. If they intend on getting rid of the original alien dialogue, I think it would be a great homage if we got just one NPC each saying one of these lines for old time's sake. I think it would just be a great little nod. I would appreciate it. The thing that I 100% agree with so many other people on is, please don't touch the main storyline. The major story beats, please do not change them. I've also seen a lot of people say they want the game to be longer and bigger, and they would like to be able to go to more planets or make the storylines longer for each planet. And I get what you're saying. I would love to be in the KOTOR world for a longer time, for longer than the 20 hours it takes to get through the base game, to get through just the main storyline. But the reason I'm hesitant to be on board with making the game longer is because of pacing. This game works because of the pacing. There isn't filler, really. The side quests tie into the main storyline, or they're really fun. There aren't too many of them. None of them are like an MMO side quest, for the most part. They're isolated stories on their own that feed the narrative, or are just fun. And what worries me with modern games is them adding fetch and collect quests. They are not fun. I think whether we get fetch and collect quests is probably going to be determined on whether or not they add crafting. Now, KOTOR 2 had crafting, but it was pretty limited, and it was part of the random loot table drop. The crafting was very simple, and you didn't have to do it. But that was also because KOTOR 2 was broken because of 14 months. I won't mind a crafting system because I do love a good crafting system if it's good. And as long as it's not required to do in the game. If it's like a side thing, if you want to max out and make your Revan as OP and broken as possible, just make the whole party just broken and super good and overpowered, that's fine. But just don't make it required, and don't do Inquisition. Like, Inquisition crafting was good and bad at the same time. Like, I enjoyed the crafting and found it very annoying at the exact same time. And I only ended up ever upgrading my Inquisitor stuff. I never upgraded. I just used the drop stuff that dropped from loot on the rest of my party. One thing I think this game might benefit from, because it's going to have a modern audience. Yes, there will be us OGs, and a lot of OGs are probably going to be salty about the remake in many respects, because there's no way they're not changing combat. And I think that's going to piss off a lot of original people, and I'm like, guys, just chill. You still have the original game that you can go and play that has the turn-based combat. Let new players experience this phenomenal story, which is going to require a modern combat system. One thing I think this game would benefit from is toning down the foreshadowing. there's some lines of dialogue in this game where once you know the plot twist, it is so obvious, but 12-year-old me didn't catch that. However, 20-year-old me now would. It would be blatantly obvious, and I probably within the first hour of Terrace would have figured out that I'm Revan. And since we're going to have gamers of all ages playing this, and with the way movies and TV shows have changed, and just how oversaturated the storytelling market is, and how common it is to have a plot twist now, it was revolutionary back in 2003, this plot twist. And you didn't see it coming, because it just wasn't something in video games. But now we've had BioShock. We've had multiple games throw in plot twists. It's something I think it would benefit from to have toned down. I'm not saying get rid of the foreshadowing, just make it subtle. Because I've seen a lot of adults do blind LPs on YouTube and stuff, and Twitch, and they either figure it out very quickly from either what Karf says on Terrace or what the Jedi Council says, because it is blatantly obvious something's up when you're talking to the Jedi Council. It is the way the dialogue is done, it is so obvious. Also, I think make it less obvious when you're running Darkside that you're Revan, because if you're playing Darkside, there were multiple situations where it is so obvious, like on Kashyyyk when you're getting the star map. The way that all plays out, it makes it so obvious, and I've seen so many gamers, especially I've seen so many adults figure it out on Kashyyyk, especially if they're playing Darkside. It clicks for them when they're getting that star map. Now, if that's the star map you're getting right before the Leviathan, it's great. But if that's the first planet you go to, you figured that out like 5 to 6 hours before you're getting the plot twist. I've seen a lot of people also speculate that they think they'll change where the plot twist happens in the game, and I think that would just be a very bad idea. Rearranging the order of the story would be a disaster, because the plot twist is the beginning of the third act, and changing that would be really stupid. I also think for new players, I get that they're gonna want to leave it be, go to whatever planets you want to go to, no matter in whatever order you want to. Part of me would like to see maybe some way of encouraging new players to do the planets in a certain order, like because the order I often go is Dantooine, Manon, Kashyyyk, and it kind of doesn't matter too much with Dantooine and with Tatooine, sorry. Going to Tatooine or Manon first, but I usually do one of those first because there's nothing significant that leads you to believe you're Revan. But then Kashyyyk, I feel like there should be a way of encouraging players to go to Kashyyyk third and leave Korriban for last. Especially, I think they really should find a way of encouraging players to save Korriban for last, because Korriban is so much fun when you found out you're Revan. And I didn't know that until like 10 playthroughs in. After knowing the plot twist, I went to Korriban last. I was like, oh, I'll save it for last, that could be fun. And then all these new dialogue options showed up, and it's like, no, I'm Revan. No, I'm Revan. And it's hilarious to see the NPC's reactions to claiming to be Revan. And I doubt that they'll do it, and I have no idea how you could possibly structure the games so that there's like a subtle nudge towards, hey, maybe leave Korriban for last. I have no idea how you would implement that or make it not in your face or bad or take you out of the immersion. But I would love to see that because I want new players to have the best experience possible with the story. And part of that is kind of based off of what order you do those planets in. And I feel like most people go to Kashyyyk to get Kashyyyk over with, but then Kashyyyk kind of spoils the twist for you a little bit. I don't know, I could be totally wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you completely disagree with me, I 100% get it. At the end of the day, we're just gonna get the game we get. But I do love speculating and sharing my hopes and fears for what could happen. Now, with the planets, other than visually them all getting a makeover, which they will since this game is being made for the PS5, it's going to have really nice graphics. All the planets are going to look really good. Oh, please fix or redo or something. Just do something to the shooting minigame where you have to shoot the Starforge TIE fighters. I don't know what else to call them. The little ships, the little spaceships that you have to shoot away at. The controls on that are garbage, and it's janky and wonky, and I have the worst time shooting at the things, and I die a million times to it. It's really annoying. I could see Terrace getting an upgrade in having more to do, because there is a lot to do. And I also don't want to end up on the starter planet for 10 hours, but I wouldn't mind more side quest content. I wouldn't mind more stuff to do in that regard. Also, Terrace is the world where you're not a Jedi, and I feel like most people want to get to being a Jedi as quickly as possible. So, it would be weird if they made Terrace longer, because I think it's like 4 hours as it is. And as an OG player, I don't want to spend 10 hours just waiting to become a Jedi. Dantooine? Honestly, I think Dantooine is as long as it needs to be. Tatooine, I could see them definitely making the city bigger for sure. More side quests, more content. Zach? I guess Pizzak could be made more complicated. Maybe visually on the screen make it more engaging to a degree. I don't know. I've played Pizzak, yes, but I think it's... Honestly, Pizzak I don't think needs much tweaking, if any at all. Swoop racing, however, that I would love to see an overhaul done. I do like the swoop racing, but I think it might be a little bit dull just keeping the track straight. I don't know. Do something with swoop racing. I hope they do something new with it. Maybe make it more of a challenge. Maybe have different levels. Maybe have like beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Kashyyyk, I think, could use more side content. There's really not much happening on Kashyyyk other than the main story. I love to be able to learn more about the wikis while on Kashyyyk. So maybe some more like just NPC conversations with lore dumps that are optional lore dumps. Just for more flavor text. But whatever you do, please, for the love of God, keep the most annoying video game sound effect of all time in, just so new players know the pain. Because I think it would take away from their experience if they weren't talking to Jolie with this sound effect just playing over the top of it, interrupting the dialogue.
Well, welcome to my home, such as it is. Pull up a stump and be comfortable. We should discuss a few things.
Now, Korriban. Korriban? Korriban's good. I don't see any point in changing anything. Maybe more outcomes? I'd like to see more variety in player choice, definitely. And more paths and outcomes to certain subplots. maybe, because we have a lot of options with the apprentice and the master head honcho guy. Uthar, I think, is his name. That final outcome when you're getting the star map, there's a number of ways that can all play out, and that's fun. I wouldn't mind more options available. Alright, and then we have a Yavin 5 space station with the dude that you can play Pizzak with and chit-chat with and buy stuff from. Please don't make him some, like, $5 DLC. Please don't. A DLC I will pay for is Revan's armor. That I will pay for. As, like, something that you can have after your first playthrough, maybe. It's like a DLC thing that you can unlock after your first playthrough. That would be a fun addition, is Revan's armor. Oh, maybe when you get to the Starforge and you're able to get Starforge armor, maybe instead you could get Revan's armor. And then it carries over to your second game and you have Revan's armor. That would be really fun. I don't know exactly how you would implement that properly, but I would love that. Now we come to the characters. There are 9 characters in this game, and a part of me wouldn't mind seeing more characters added, but at the same time I think 9 is enough. I don't think we need more. And I think what I'm concerned about is what may or may not change with the 9 characters that we already have. If they make a new character that's DLC, I'm not going to buy it. I never buy DLC characters unless I've bought the Ultimate Edition of something and it comes with it. Otherwise, if there's a DLC companion, I don't bother with it. Because I find they usually don't add anything. And I think we have for this game, I think 9 is the perfect number. Anyway, I'm more concerned about certain characters getting fixed and others not getting ruined, which I feel like in the modern climate could easily happen in this game. I'm going to start off with Karth. Karth is honestly fine. Whatever you do, I don't think there needs to be much tweaking. If they tweak him, honestly, I won't really care because he's no fun on a dark side playthrough anyway. But please, whatever you do, leave his side quest alone. Being able to unequip all of Karth's equipment and have him punch his son to death is the most satisfying thing in this game for me. I have to do it every time. Make him kill his own son. It is so funny. Bastila, on the other hand, is the companion I think I'm most concerned about, because I don't think there needs to be any changes done to her. If you want to give her more conversations with Revan, go for it. I'd love to have more conversations with Bastila. That would be a lot of fun. I'd love to have more conversations with all the party members. Just don't make her into some modern extremist feminist. It would ruin her entire character. And like, if they alter the fact that she falls to the dark side, I will be pissed. If they alter that because of some modern thing of like, oh, we couldn't have a woman fall to the dark side, women are too good for that, I will ask for my money back. Mission? I always forget about Mission. I don't think anything needs to change with her. I think she's good. Zalbar, though? Please give him more to do. You talk to him like once on the ship, and then he does nothing the rest of the game, other than what happens on Kashyyyk. Please give him something to do. Please give us more conversations with him. I'd love to know more about the Wookiees from him and stuff. He's just not... They didn't make him at all interesting in this game. He doesn't have much going on. Jolie Bindo, just give him more stories to tell us. That goes for Canderous as well. Please, just give him more stories. I don't want anything changed with these characters. They're fantastic the way they are. Juhani, on the other hand, needs one hell of a rewrite, man. I never realized as a kid how much they messed up her character arc. It just doesn't work at all. And I never noticed as a kid. The only thing I realized in later years is that I would never run with her in the party. Also, maybe in this game, like what happened in KOTOR 2, make there be instances where you can't use the Jedi companions, because there's no incentive in this game to not run with the Jedi because they're so much more powerful than the rest of them. So I always ended up with Bastila and Jolie, and then I would run with Juhani when I lost Bastila. I don't even know exactly what's wrong with her. The arc just doesn't work. It's like you're introduced her at the wrong point in the arc. Something doesn't click for me with her. So she could definitely use a complete overhaul. One thing I'd like to see done with her character, because I swear I did this in a playthrough and I've never been able to find it on the internet, and I've asked on the internet and nobody else has experienced this, but I one time was able to recruit her from the meadows where you meet her, not redeem her, and have her as a dark side party member. I had that happen once. I got that to happen. I recruited her when she was on the dark side. And I would love to see that be an option where you don't turn her to the light side, especially if you're doing a dark side run. It's kind of weird that you convince her to become light side. I'd love to see her be recruited as an evil Jedi, because we don't have any evil Jedi with us. I feel like that would be a fun addition. Now, T3. I love T3, and T3 is fantastic in KOTOR 2. And they really gave him a personality in that game. They also utilized him as comedic relief during cutscenes on the Ebon Hawk. I'd like to see that put into KOTOR 1. I'd like to see them basically copy and paste KOTOR 2 T3 to KOTOR 1. That's what I'd like to see happen. Because he's so much fun, and he adds so much to the dynamic on the ship. But you can't do anything with him in this game. He's just a MacGuffin for a little bit at one point. Now, my boy, my best boy, my favorite companion of all time, HK47. Just give me more. Please, just give me more. I got spoiled with KOTOR 2 because you get so much fantastic HK47 bits. And he has this whole side plot thing going, and it ties into the main storyline. It is god tier. Phenomenal. Please, just give me more HK. Now, one of the things this game was lacking, because this was back in 2003, was the ability to romance companions. And this is also something I am very concerned about, is how they're going to handle this, because no matter what they do, they're not going to please all the fans. I've seen a lot of fans where they're saying they would like to be able to romance this companion or that companion, or they want a certain companion to be bi so that they can always romance them. And I hear what you're saying, but I really don't want them to make this game into Mass Effect, because Mass Effect became all about sleeping with aliens. And I did not like that aspect of Mass Effect, because that's just what it boiled down to, and just the whole game became about. And that seems to be like the most important thing to people is who did you romance in Mass Effect? And I'm like, I didn't care about any of the companions enough to want to romance any of them. But that's a different hot take for another day. What I think I'm most concerned about is this game getting turned into Dragon Age 2. In Dragon Age 2, they made all the companions player sexual. You could romance every single companion as male or female. Now, from the perspective of people who play a lot of these games so that they can romance companions, this sounds great to them. And I've seen a lot of people who love having all the companions available to the male and female player characters, and all of them being player sexual. I see why they like that. For me personally, I don't like that. I feel it takes away from their character, because in real life, the entire world isn't bi. Everybody is different when it comes to sexuality, and it takes away the realism of these characters for me when they're all player sexual. And this is something that they'll not be able to please everyone on. Personally, I would rather you couldn't romance anyone in this game. That's just my personal opinion. Because if they flesh out the two romances that do exist in the original game, which is Basil if you're male and Karth if you're female, they're very basic. And like nothing happens, like there's not even a kiss cutscene, there's nothing. It's just a conversation where you're just like, hey, you like me? Yeah, I like you, I guess we're boyfriend-girlfriend now. And it ends. There's nothing else to it. But with modern gaming, I don't see them leaving that alone. So my compromise is, I will tolerate all the meatbag companions being player sexual only if, and this is only if, I can romance HK.
Answer. Many organic meatbags find that question difficult to answer, Master, but I believe I can provide you with a satisfactory definition. Definition. Love is making a shot to the knees of a target 120 kilometers away using an Aerotech sniper rifle with a tri-light scope. Statement. This definition, I am told, is subject to interpretation. Obviously, love is a matter of odds. Not many meatbags could make such a shot. And strangely enough, not many meatbags would derive love from it. Yet for me, love is knowing your target, putting them in your targeting reticle, and together achieving a singular purpose against statistically long odds.
Because that is a romance storyline I would love to see. Now, I think I covered everything, so if you made it this far in the video, congrats. This was a really long video of me just ranting my hopes and fears for the remake. But if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and share it with your enemies. And if you didn't like the video, keep it to yourself. Bye-bye.